All right, I do have the best wife in the world. And I'd say that if she wasn't here. Wow, that's really loud. Okay, so I'm thrilled to be here. The theme of tonight is God orders my steps, and He has ordered my steps in lots of different ways. There is a package of steps that He really walked me through. There were 12 of them. Most people know them as the 12 steps. Because, see, I'm a recovering addict. I spent 13 years of my life addicted to pornography, and that addiction went from viewing things on the computer screen to infidelity, more than one affair, and eventually it landed me in this support group. And in this support group, we read the 12 steps at the beginning of every meeting. And I'm not going to read all of the 12 steps now, but I do want to give you a theme that runs through them, or an overview. And I found that this is, the general themes are the same, whether it's sex addiction, alcohol, drugs, shopping, food, whatever the addiction is, these categories of steps are the same. And it starts with basically, hey, I have screwed up my life enough. Like this addiction has become unmanageable for me, and I need someone from the outside, a higher power, some being outside, to start getting me on the right path, to start figuring out how I stop this behavior, because I can't do it myself. The second part, the second kind of chunk of the steps, is basically writing down all of your character flaws. Doesn't that sound like fun? So, you spend a couple weeks writing down all of your character flaws, and, it's fun to write down, adulterer, pornographer, narcissist, selfish, manipulator, liar, cheater, and those are just the ones off the top of my head. Give me another week and I can write down a whole lot more. Once I got done that step or that phase, then I got to write down names next to each one of those character flaws of people that I hurt, or that flaw hurt. So who are all the people that my manipulating hurt? Name after name after name after name. That my adultery hurt. Name after name after name. And then I get to go and when it's not going to make the problem worse, I get to go face to face with each one of those people and say, look, I did this to you, and I'm sorry. And it's hard to sit across from people that have stood by you, that had no idea that this was going on in your life, that stood by you through really difficult times, and for you to say, you know what, I manipulated you the whole entire time, just so that you would like me, or that you would side with me. And then the last kind of phase of this is really admitting or realizing that I'm probably going to screw up again. This is not all right, I went through the steps and life is good after this. This is an ongoing thing. I'm going to mess up, but when I do, I'm not going to let it fester. I'm going to come right up and say, look, I messed up, I need help. I'm not going to hide things anymore. And so that was the beginning of each one of these meetings, each one of these support group meetings. And it sounds like a lot of fun, doesn't it? Like, why would someone do this? And really, for me, I got to the point where I was so desperate to stop this behavior that I would have done anything. And I didn't care if people looked at me funny. I didn't care if it cost me every relationship that I had. It didn't matter if people judged me. I was that desperate that I would do anything. And at one of the first meetings, it was either the first, it might have been the second, we watched this video, and it was this doctor talking about the science of addiction. And in there, he had a line that said he felt that recovering addicts are the greatest people in the world. And I sat there thinking, this guy's nuts. There is nothing in me sitting in this room right now feeling like I am one of the greatest people in the world. And certainly the people I'm sitting with, I don't feel like we should be categorized as the greatest people in the world. Greatest screw-ups, maybe. Greatest disappointments, probably. But greatest people, not feeling it right now. And so I got into the support group, or this support group, and through the 12 steps, and my goal was to stop this behavior. I wanted to stop the pornography usage, the lustful thoughts, the adultery. I wanted to stop that. I thought that was the goal. What I realized through working these steps and working this program was that the goal of working the 12 steps is not sobriety. That is a byproduct of the real goal. Because if you look at the 12 steps, basically the 12 steps are saying, hey, God, I tried to lead my life, and I can't do it. I did my best job leading my life, and I'm now sitting in a Sex Addicts Anonymous support group. So clearly, I'm not very good at this. I need you to come in and lead my life for me. The next phase is, oh, and by the way, this is what you've got to work with. Adulterer, pornographer, I'm not bringing a whole lot to the table here for you to work with. So I'm just being honest with you. You need to take over my life, but I'm not bringing much. The next phase is, hey, I've hurt a lot of people, and I'm going to humble myself to go ahead and do this, and apologize and try to make things right. Ask for forgiveness, forgive those people that hurt me, that may have contributed to any of this addiction. And then, finally realize I'm not going to be perfect. As much as I try, as focused as I am not going to be perfect through this. We had a phrase in this recovery group, there was progress, not perfection, because the thought of being perfect was just overwhelming and not realistic. But every day we just wanted to make baby steps and make progress. And so when you look at the 12 steps that way, the purpose of them is not to stop the behavior. The purpose of them is to reorder the priorities in your life and take this addiction or this item that you're addicted to off the top line of your priority list and put God there instead. And when that switch is made, then everything else starts to fall into place again. And so when I look at that, when I think back to that video clip and that doctor who said, I think recovering addicts are the greatest people in the world. I think recovering addicts are a subset of what I would call the greatest people in the world. I think anybody that is brave enough to voluntarily, to a point, blow up their life, all for the purpose of making sure that God stays in as their top priority, I think that's a pretty great person. I think they deserve some sort of kudos. And I'm not just saying that because I'm one of them. I'm one of many, many people that have gone through this process. Because I think that, and I don't say that, my old self would have said that narcissistically, that I am one of the greatest people in the world. That is not where I'm coming from now, trust me. But what I do think happens is I think that anyone that's desperate enough to shift their entire life, to risk everything that they have built, their reputation, their relationships, everything that they've built on this earth, to focus on God, there's something really powerful to that. Because I've realized that's really the reason we're here. We're not here, or at least I'm not here, I've realized this now, I'm not here to build my reputation. I'm not here to make people like me. I'm not here to do any of that. I'm here to bring glory to God and to share, hey, if I was leading my life, I am not sitting on this stage talking about pornography. I'm probably home watching it. And so I picture God looking at, people that will take that step through these 12 steps or through any other process, and saying, you know what, I look at you, my child, and I think you are one of the greatest people on the face of the earth. Because by going through this, I found that I am turning into the person that God designed me to be, not the person that I designed me to be or that I want me to be. And it's all modeled after a person who walked this earth, who, in my mind, there's no comparison, was the greatest person that ever walked the face of the earth. And the closer I can get to that and the person that he designed me to be, I'm making progress. I'm not perfect, but I'm making progress, and that's the goal. So, thank you.